Namaste, viewers. Welcome to Jaipur Dialogue USA and Jaipur Dialogue. And today I'm going to talk in English, mostly, because it involves one big gentleman called Rahul Gandhi, who, whenever he goes abroad, makes news. Makes news against India, makes news amongst NRIs. And since he has a mass following in amongst NRIs all over the world, I thought I will pen my thought here in few minutes. So, I remember one thing very clearly, knowing Indian politics the way it is. Rahul Gandhi's grandmother, when she was disqualified by Allahabad High Court, and she imposed emergency, and following the emergency, election was fought, and a non-discrepant, noisy man called Raj Narayan defeated her by some 80,000 votes, or whatever the number was. Raj Narayan defeated her in her constituency, Raebareli. Raj Narayan was described by the British media as the Gadfly of Indian politics. You know the meaning of Gadfly. Just check it up in Google. The Gadfly is that fly that keeps irritating you all the time. Today's the way Rahul Gandhi is behaving anti-India, anti-Hindu, his entire party, and this you have to bear in mind. That's the truth. The way Rahul Gandhi is accusing India of everything that it is not makes him the modern day gadfly of Indian politics. Now, what does he do when he goes overseas? His Notanki overseas is very well scripted and known. He always abuses India. He always compares India with China. Bear that in mind. It's very important because it's with Chinese Communist Party, that his party has a brotherly or a sisterly agreement, MOU. Nobody knows what is there, but he would never say that, what it is. But he always sings songs and praises China for what it is, with reference to its economy and what it does to India, even negative. In Brussels, there is another group of allies that he has. A lot has been written on it already. But what is important to bear in mind that how systematically he goes on and on and on, including asking overseas help to remove Modi. Now that part you must bear in mind, that in the very first term of Mr. Modi, Manishankar Iyer, and I think there was another gentleman who went to Pakistan and sought their help to dismantle Modi. That is fact. I'm not making it up. We also know that he came to the US, gave an interview to an American ambassador who was in India earlier, and directly requested that United States must interfere in India. Then what happens? Then George Soros, the billionaire, he puts in at World Economic Forum, declares $1 billion to remove Modi from power and restore democracy there. Think about it. I wonder, how would these very people react if Adani or Ambani or anybody else in India had declared that they are putting in $1 billion of their own money to protect and defend democracy and Modi? How would the world media have reacted? About the China thing, there will be a much deeper conversation on this later, but suffice to say that China hates India. Let's be very clear. Whether you do Purva Paksh or Shatru Bodh, if you do that, you understand who you are dealing with. Understanding the nature of the beast is critical in formulating your own strategy and how to deal with the situation. The most important person who did that, described the nature of the beast, was Tom Friedman. Tom Friedman, the famous New York Times journalist, he wrote a book called Lexus and the Olive Tree. In that book, he talks about very clearly, a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, please read it. That I consider Tom Friedman's best writing. The rest of them, not so much. But Tom Friedman's this book, he says very clearly, fear drives one's motive and actions. And he said that if you are standing behind a bush and the bush shakes or rattles, you are immediately caught with trepidation and fear. The reason is you do not know what's on the other side. But if you dared and went and opened the leaves and the plant and saw what was on the other side, then your action is determined on what you see on the other hand. So if it is a bunch of rabbits, you know you have nothing to do. If it is a snake, you know what to do. If it is a bear, you know climbing on the tree is not the best option. If it is a lion or a tiger, then you take action that is suitable to what you are facing. Nature of the beast. Purva Paksh Shatrubodh. Remarkably important. What is Rahul Gandhi doing here? He's continuously berating India as if India is in dumps, which the fact is something else totally. India is being looked upon as a strong, powerful country that Prime Minister Modi has established itself as. But here is another important part. A China equation I have answered any number of times in the United States talking to business people. They will all say, oh, China did this or China did that. But I always say this, that China is not a democracy. Chinese President Xi declared himself as lifelong president. All right? You know and I know, we have seen the pictures of how former leaders of Chinese Communist Party were picked up manually and thrown out of the hall. You know there is no human rights in China. And I suspect Rahul Gandhi, somewhere along the line, loves human rights, even if naam ke vaste, if not reality. So comparison with China is a wrong comparison. It's a very odious comparison. And I'm asking Rahul Gandhi and all those people who support him, what if Prime Minister Modi in the new parliament declares himself as Prime Minister for life? I think the entire world's media and all the world leaders will say, oh, death of democracy in India. Well, that it will be, for sure, if Prime Minister were to declare himself as Prime Minister for life, as President Xi did. But did Rahul Gandhi ever criticize China, Chinese president, or the Chinese human rights record? Ever? The answer is no. This is important. He berates Indian army. I do not know which of the Indians living abroad or in India, and I'm particularly addressing Indians living overseas, whether you are in Australia, Canada, UK, US, or Germany or France. We get the news that many Indians are unhappy with Prime Minister Modi because he is taking up the cause of Hindu. But Prime Minister has never done that. He has never criticized Muslims at all. On the contrary, he is being attacked by Hindus of being very supportive of Muslims. So today you can't accuse Prime Minister Modi of not taking care of Muslims. He has done more than enough. Today Muslims can't complain, or the world leaders can't complain that he hasn't done enough for all minority communities in India, to the unhappiness of Hindu community. Think about it from that point of view. Rahul Gandhi is the gadfly of Indian politics. He is indulging deliberately overseas. Overseas. He knows that he has no future in India. He is banking upon Indians living overseas to create a drumbeat of attack. He knows everything. He knows what he is doing. He knows whose bidding he is doing. Do we know that? Do we realize that? Do we need to counter it or not? Is the vital question. He has met with everybody who has a given definite agenda to defeat Modi, prevent the rise of Sanatan, prevent the rise and assertion of Hindu folks that who are rising up today, many of whom they kept their mouths shut for 60 plus years when Congress trampled upon and systematically destroyed all things Hindu pride, all things Hindu. Whether it's a Waqf board, whether it was Place of Worship Act, or whether it's Articles 25 to 30, where everywhere Hindus were prevented systematically by law to prevent them from educating the people about Hindu Dharma. We also know that the first five education ministers, where they came from, who made them, and how the Hindu history was distorted. Ladies and gentlemen, when Rahul Gandhi does what he does, it's time to ask and demand, showcase where is your agreement with China, Chinese Communist Party. It's very critical for us to know because he is indulging in seditious acts in the name of democracy and freedom. I always say that thugs and thieves and the unruly people take advantage of the rule of law and the compassion of the society to undermine what you are, and impose on you what you are not. This is very, very important. It's for you and I. This is for me, from my point of view, a John F. Kennedy moment. When John F. Kennedy made the great statement, ask not what your country can do for you, but what are you doing for the country, what you can do for the country. This is the moment for every Indian, every Hindu particularly, because we are under target to ask and demand, what are you doing for the country? Don't ask what the country is doing for you. What are you doing to prevent and protect and defend your own rights? Rahul Gandhi, thank you very much for awakening that feeling in us, because otherwise we wouldn't perhaps have known. Please like, subscribe, and support our channel. With these words, I always say, Satyamev Jayate. For truth to triumph, you and I have to stand for the truth. Thank you.